Nitrate's pretty good. Nitrate. Hmm. Uh, You guys ever try nitrite? It's interesting. Anyways, hmm, maybe I should try some of this and see if this is good. It's algae wafers. How do the fish eat this stuff? I promise you, it's just Powerade. welcome in, welcome in. Howdy doody. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Friday. It's the weekend finally, and we are here, and maybe with a beer, but never fear, my dear. It'll be absolutely in no fear. I could keep going on with this, but let's just keep it where we're at. All right, so who do we got in here so far? We got Uncle Smiley's, we got Jesse, evening, evening dad. Thanks for coming in and showing up on this Friday evening. I hope this isn't too late for all you people that go to bed early. It's the weekend, so come on, guys, give me a break. Hang out for a little bit and have a good time. So yeah, it's been, I guess, a pretty good week for me. For anyone who doesn't know, I did put a post out about my video of updates to my channel. Nothing drastic has happened yet because it's still kind of in the works, and I'm still trying to make some logos and some different ideas thrown out there, and I'm hoping that you guys can kind of throw some out there for me as well. But I know Jesse for sure mentioned like a price world sort of thing, and I was thinking of like maybe like a price tag world, and I was kind of thinking in terms of like I do have a logo, I've already made one, but I'm not 100% on it yet. It's on my Twitch channel and it's on my I think that's it so far. But hey Tim, thanks for coming in, buddy. I appreciate it. Um, but yeah, I was thinking more of like a idea of what sucks is like whenever you come up with pictures and stuff, like for my logo that's on my channel now, is that's actually a picture from my fish tank. And I just cropped it to size into that circle, and then I added the text in there. So that was like all my pictures. So like I got the copyrights. So that's the thing that's kind of tough is I really don't want to. I want to try to get a decent logo, but without having to worry about getting any type of copyright strikes. So, but I have this idea in my head that I think I want to try to do something like along the lines of price tag world, and then like kind of animate the world and spin around and have like different things kind of revolve around it within my hobbies and stuff. But yeah, it's been really warm. Today was a breath of fresh air for us though here in Ohio. We've had like 70-degree weather and 50s at night, and we usually don't see that here in August, late July and August. So it's been a breath of fresh air because it's been hot. It's been like mid 80s to 90 degrees for like almost like a solid week or more, with very little breaks here and there. Hey Chris, how do you come? Thanks for coming in. Hopefully you guys are all enjoying your drink of choice. I am enjoying my, as we saw earlier, I am doing some API water testing and making sure my nitrite's still at 0, and then down the hatch. Gotta get rid of it somehow. But yeah, the subject for today's live stream is what's in your wallet. And I came up with that idea because I finally, for all you guys who've been following along, I finally got my tank in position, my 220, and all it needs to do is get put on a stand. and I had put a Facebook post out, and someone reached out to me from work, and which was a huge lifesaver because I know without 4 people, we would not be able to do this fish tank. But thankfully, tomorrow at 9 in the morning, well, it'll be my dad, my brother, and I, and a coworker of mine. We're gonna lift this thing up on its stand. The stand is exactly where it needs to be, and we'll put the suction cups on it and lift it to where it needs to go. And then from there, it's just all me. So I have some different things I'm going to do with my filtration too, though. So it's not going to be like I'm not going to put water in it like immediately because there's still some different filtration options, and I have to put some PVC together and some different piping to make the filtration work. If you guys remember me being on Jesse's live stream, we had to kind of come together, figure out different ways of having to put the FX6 tubes into where the spots where they're at. So I'm probably going to end up using a combination between like I want to say like the washer kind of hose that you can connect to the PVC, and then kind of just find something to harness it up to on the tank. So, but my whole live stream subject for today is what's in your wallet. That comes from a bank. I think that's where I got that from. If one of you guys remember, you can let me know in the chat too. 0 chance. Yeah, I like doing that sort of thing. I know Jesse did that a long time ago, and on a short or something. So I wanted to do it, but I never got around to it. So I was kind of like spur of the moment thing. I grabbed my test kit, grabbed me some Powerade Zero. But yeah, it's been hot in the Carolinas too. Yep, we got a break today. Purple Kool-Aid. Sweet. So yeah, back to my subject is I kind of like it came up to me as I was starting to move this fish tank into its spot all by myself, and it was a lot of work. But furniture dollies, and I had 3 of them total. One of them, well, actually I had 4, but one of them broke during the process of going over the threshold of my door. But the reason why I came up with the subject of what's in your wallet is I kind of wanted to get you guys Capital One. Thank you, Uncle Smileys. What's in your wallet? I knew it was a bank. I just couldn't think of which bank it was. But I came up with this subject because I wanted to know what your guys' thoughts are on, say, if now I'm not saying that the sky's the limit per se, but I was kind of curious to see you guys in the chat on what you guys is like. Say if you guys had the budget and you had a fish tank in mind that was on your bucket list with a certain type of fish that was on your bucket list. And I'm not saying that you had like a ton of money, but enough money to say, hey, I can afford this exact fish tank and this exact fish substrate, the decorations, the background, the different, saltwater or freshwater, what have you. What would be your roundabout money that you could comfortably spend, that's in your wallet, that you could say, yeah, you could be happy with finally getting that bucket list fish or that bucket list fish tank that you've been waiting to put up for so long. So I'm kind of curious to see your thoughts on that, because I kind of have a few bucket fish in mind myself, one of them being a peacock bass. I think that would be pretty cool to have just because it kind of goes along with my fishing history of, one of my favorite things to fish for is like largemouth bass. So I think just having a peacock bass, I think that would be kind of sweet to have. But that part wouldn't be till a long ways down the road. So essentially, what would be a comfortable amount that you guys would be willing to spend? Say if even you had the finances available, so if you don't right now, so say for some reason that something happened in your life and all of a sudden the finances were readily available for you to spend, between everything that I mentioned, what's the amount that you guys would spend on your dream fish tank and what would be in it? So I'm kind of curious to see your comments. So let me catch back up here. Chris says, I bought 5 pairs of paradise fish that came in from Indonesia. Some really cool colors that haven't been available in the States yet. So that's interesting, Chris. Paradise fish from Indonesia. That's really cool. You must do, you've probably bought those online then, I'm assuming, Ren. MasterCard and Visa in mind. Too bad nothing on them. Yeah, we don't want to get you in credit card debt. That's the goal. Is we want to make sure you guys are completely comfortable with spending the money you can. Hello, June. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Craig's Catfish. Hello, hello. Tim wants a reef aquarium. I can't. I I think at some point I'm going to have a saltwater tank, but that's going to be like when everything in my fish room is settled and I have just that one little spot to have my small little clownfish tank. It won't be anything real extrinsic. So, but June says a room divider aquarium. So that would be kind of cool. I'm thinking in terms of, if I'm understanding this correctly, June, that you had the fish tank on one side of the room, and then if you go to like maybe like a like between the kitchen and the dining room, so you can enjoy the fish tank on both sides. I think that would be kind of cool because I kind of ran across my head at one point too. But whenever I did this in-wall setup, it was kind of like, well, I'd rather do this for now and then kind of see how things go. But if I ever built my own house, if that was ever the case before I got this house, that would be something that would be kind of cool, that you could walk from like the living room to like the bedroom even, per se, or the dining room. Because one of the things I thought would be kind of cool to relate to this, if this is the case, is if my wife and I, we moved our bedroom downstairs and the kids' bedrooms would be upstairs, we would kind of expand the two small bedrooms, make it one bedroom. And then it would be kind of cool to put like maybe like a fish tank in between where the dining room is and then like our bedroom. So that way you can enjoy the fish tank on both sides. But then you got to think of it this way though. Do I want a fish tank in between the dining room where all the family people eat, and then they can see straight through the fish tank into the bedroom? I might cause trouble. We got to keep the bedroom nice and neat. On another note, Chris says 600 in fish and about 600 for the tank. 8 captive bred spotted Congos from Matt in a 125. That's a good amount. That sounds phenomenal, Chris. I'm thankful for sharing that. 600 in fish and about 600 for the tank. Yeah, I think I've kind of met my wallet, of what came out of my wallet for my fish tank and how much did I spend. And I'm still going to spend probably a little bit more just because I want a little bit deeper substrate. So I'm probably going to buy a little bit more sand. And I got to buy some like tubing and stuff for the filtration and whatnot. And I'm buying, I'm going to come out with a video soon. I haven't even, it's just kind of an idea I've had, but I want to, you have to take this all into consideration of the type of filtration you have with how much money you want to spend. But like, I think personally, for my sake, for what comes out of my wallet, I don't think I would want to spend more than, I don't know, for the amount I spent on the 220. If I'm doing odds and ends and upgrading my filtration, I kind of want to stay like, I'm pretty happy with like the $1,000 to $1,500 range. Especially if you start building your own tanks, like your own plywood tanks, and you start building sumps, and then you kind of go with that route. And there's a lot of different options to choose from, between of course your lighting and stuff too, and how much you want to spend on that. So those things breed like rabbits. They're kind of an a-hole. 30 paradise fry, holy smoke. No new fish and only Oscars. I never would have guessed. So you did a quote on this, the whole wall. We did a quote. Maybe I gotta keep scrolling down through the chat unless you had already answered there, June. I'm curious to see that quote on that. But if you don't want to say it, that's fine too. I bet it'd be kind of expensive. It'd be interesting too, because if you have a fish tank in between 2 different rooms, you would have to, I wonder how you would set the filtration up. You would have to have like maybe like a door that goes into a wall. And then you could like either use your sumps or your canisters and then just kind of go on maybe on either side of the fish tank, on one side or the other. Maybe that's something that you could do. Man, they came from Hawaii. That's very cool. But yeah, that's kind of like essentially my limit in a nutshell. Is I think I'm pretty happy with not having anything real huge. I kind of thought of having a pond outside too, but it wouldn't be anything big either. And because of the brutal temperatures here in Ohio in the wintertime, I would have to have a spare tank in here because I don't think I could have a pond deep enough to have the like as an example like koi to they could go to that hibernation stage to go deep enough so they'd be okay in the wintertime because the winters here are pretty cold, especially in January, February, and a little bit of March. I'd be too afraid to keep them outside. But I have a lot of learning to do on owning a pond, even if it's just a small pond with koi goldfish or whatever, or mollies or whatever you want to have in your ponds. I have to do a lot of research too because I don't have a whole lot of knowledge about ponds. So I almost did it this year, but I think I'm probably going to wait until maybe spring of next year to do a pond. I think that'll be a nice little spring project for me to do and to keep up with it throughout the entire season because I feel like if I started a pond project now, I would only enjoy it for probably maybe, I don't know, it's already August, September, October, November. I probably only enjoy it for 4 months. So if I did a pond, I would want to go through the whole learning experience throughout the whole entire year. And I think that would be more worth it to me. Plus, I would need room to have another fish tank down here to put the fish at whenever I bring them in the wintertime. And I would probably spend around the same amount of money too. Maybe like with the rockscape and everything of how much is in my wallet to try to stay around that 1 to 2,000 range, maybe $1,500, just to get the pond equipment and that sort of thing. So that's something I might try out a little bit next year. So a lot of things just run through my head, and that's why I wanted to come up with this subject of how much you guys would spend, what you guys would do, and the fish you would keep, and how you would do things, and how you would set it up. So, hey, Uncle Pat, welcome in. Haven't seen you in here in a while, but thank you. I appreciate you coming in. Pat's gonna help me dig my pond. I would want every help in the world to help dig it. um, Pat, if you don't know and you haven't been in the loop of everything, I have a fish tank, a 220 gallon that's down here. I've gotten rid of all my 10 gallons and my 20 gallons except for one, and I might end up keeping that one just for quarantine purposes because I sold quite a few tanks, met quite a few people, and I have to tell you, like, if you haven't checked out my latest video of me explaining, my price tag unplugged, it explains the whole reason why I'm changing my fish room and my YouTube channel and everything else. So there's a lot of stuff in the works in the future for me, a lot of different things. But yeah, this 220 I've had since the middle of wintertime, probably like end of December, January, something like that. It might have been January, like basically the middle of wintertime. I've had this tank, and I still had all the other ones set up. So it was just kind of like one of those one heck of a deal that I couldn't pass up, but I knew it was going to take a while to get it going. So now that it's finally, my tanks are gone, my fish are gone, I have the space for it, everything's there. So I'm super excited to get this thing finally, on the ball and rolling. It's still going to take a little bit of time for me to get it set up because, like I said, I want to get more substrate. I want to get a few things underway with the filtration and stuff. I want to get different media for the FX6s. So, thanks, Jesse, for liking the live stream. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button. I appreciate it. A little bit of advertisement for me goes a long way. Oh yeah, I know how that feels. That always sucks, especially when you have a almost 3-year-old. Oh, so you have experience building waterfalls. I have a feeling you're talking about my dad's pond. I think I know where you're going on this, unless I don't know about something you've done on a personal basis at your own place or somewhere else. But I have a feeling you're talking about my dad's pond. That's where your history comes in. I just now thought of that. Just something that came to mind. You've been catching up one video at a time. Well, I appreciate it, Pat. Every little bit helps. Let's see here. What else do we got? Chris says I've lost a 300-gallon and a 240-gallon to a tornado. They were in my in-laws' barn and never found. Holy smoke! When was that? Was that here recently, or was that like within the past history? Because that's crazy, especially if you were planning on doing something with those fish tanks. That would be really, really heartbreaking. Exactly. Yep, I thought that's where you were going. Oh, it's so much fun. I can just hear the sarcasm. It's so much fun to carry big boulders of rocks and digging. I mean, it's a blast to dig holes and carry dirt and heavy rocks. I mean, it's wonderful. But it's worth it in the end, to be fair. It is so worth it just to see the end result of everything. Yeah, it might be kind of a pain in the butt to do, but at the same time, it's totally worth it. It's all good, Jesse. You were here in spirit. You know, it always sucks to bring in groceries when it's pouring down rain. But yeah, Slim Tim, I missed your live. If you, we were busy all day today, and I was sleeping for the first half of the day, and then I went to my local fish store, um, about an hour away from my house. So, could you call that a local fish store? I guess you could technically still call it a local fish store because it's still within your area. But yeah, I hope that everything's good on my end. But I hope that that Chris, whenever that tornado hit, that those fish tanks were. That kind of sucks that there was nothing left of them. Man, that really sucks. Um, yeah, yeah, I did. I think they've been there for a little bit. I think I need to update those emojis, June. Um, so yeah, I think that's kind of like my future plans for right now. Is I'm really curious to see your guys' thoughts and comments about my changing of the guard or as changing of my channel. And like I said, I have an idea for I think my for as far as I put a post on my YouTube channel. So I didn't see a whole lot of people like it. So I'll just explain to it now that my name is going to be the same across the entire board between Twitch, YouTube, all my platforms that I'm using for on the computer, like email and that sort of thing. It's going to be an X price tag X, and the reason I'm doing that is because obviously I still want to keep the price tag name. Long since I did the price tag aquariums, I've had this price tag name ever since high school. It's been a nickname for me for a while now, and I didn't even come up with it. A guy that I was in marching band with, and yes, I was in marching band. um, he came up with the name, and it kind of just flourished from there, and it got more and more attention as time went on, and now people at work are even calling me that. And so it just kind of happened and evolved, and it's been that way ever since. That's why I want to keep the name, but then I put the X on either side because it was the only way. Because a lot of times when you start creating accounts and stuff and you want to create names, it's really difficult to have just like one or two words, and then you try to do it the same with like your email or like another account or whatever, and it doesn't match up because it's the name isn't available. So the only way that I could come up with that is to put an X on either side of price tag. And to me, it makes sense too because my birthday is on April 20th. So that's why in Roman numerals you have 10 and 10 on either side for X on either side. So I think that goes well with my name. And then as far as like a handle goes, as they call it for YouTube, I wanted to do kind of like a price tag world instead of saying at price tag aquariums. So that's kind of an idea that I had, but I'm also open to suggestions for all you people and all you great folks out there as well. 922 are in the house. Thank you. This is Ash's dad, by the way. Um, so everyone say hello to my wife's dad. It's always wonderful to have the family into the chat. Usually Ash will pop in here and there whenever Alana's not preoccupying my wife, so she'll come in and say hello. But usually my mom, my dad, my uncle Pat in there, of course. So and then Ash's dad. So it's always nice to have everybody in here and hang out for a little bit. Um, what time of band camp? The instrument I played was the trumpet, Stephen P. And I was pretty good at it. I never got to first chair, but I got to second. So I think always on my way in. It's my way of saying hi. There you go. Perfect. Yeah, but yeah, everyone say hi to my family and my stepdad, or not, or yeah, my wife's dad, I should say. I like to say it that way. So, with that being said, I'm open to any suggestions that you guys have. Um, as far as names, logos, and that sort of thing. I have to kind of familiarize myself with a couple of different apps to mess around with, because I think it'd be really cool to have like a price tag world for the handle, and it'd be kind of neat to have like a spinning globe or like a spinning picturesque thing of like a globe with like different activities I do and hobbies that I do, and then have like my name go across like price tag around it, and then have that as like an intro sort of thing. But fear not, though, even though I'm going to be doing various things as far as video games, fishing, hobbies, outdoor stuff, inside stuff, DIYs, that sort of thing, it's going to be a whole different channel at some point. I'm going to be more different content, but fear not, it'll still be a lot of fish keeping stuff because there's a ton of stuff that's still in the works. I'm going to have this 220 set up, so that's going to be fun to showcase, move the fish around, tear some tanks down, do some new projects. There's a whole lot of ideas that's running through my head, like I was talking about the pond that I want to do. So I'm going to do a whole video series on that. So it's still going to be a lot of heavy base fish keeping stuff, but it's just going to be an all around hobby thing to kind of get myself used to doing things on the fly. Because a lot of times, like for the, if you guys haven't checked out my video game for the Behind Glass, I'm going to try to get back up on that and do the updates of the videos and stuff. Of keeping take care of those fish tanks. But it's just right now, it's just really easy, especially with baby number 2 on the way on October 1st, that I have to be able to readily go from on my computer to do all these different things and all these different activities, instead of right here is where I have to set everything up. And I use this desk a lot for various things, when I'm doing maintenance and stuff. So I don't always have my computer set up here. So it's a lot of tear down and bring stuff up. And eventually at some point, I'm going to have my whole entire office down here, but that's going to probably be in the future, to when our kids are going to be upstairs, and then the bedroom will be downstairs. And then my, as you like to call your man cave, with everything is here. It'll all be down here. I have my fireplace in front of me, my fish tanks over there. It'll be a nice, just welcome area to do everything in. So that'll be in the far future, and everything will be down here to do my live streams, to do my hobby stuff, to do my editing and all that sort of thing. So everything's going to be right down here, so that way I don't have to worry about waking my family up if I'm down here late doing some video editing or doing some live streams and that sort of thing. Let's see here. Let's start to catch up on chat a little bit. Trombone, wife played the flute. We met in marching band. Yeah, I've when I was still in high school, I dated a couple of people in marching band, and it was probably not for the better. But that's cool. You guys were high school sweethearts. That's always, you don't see that. That's very rare that you see people that are high school sweethearts that have made it all the way through, for what, however long you guys have been together. And that's really cool. Congratulations to you guys. That's really neat. TK Tropicals, why don't you just show your tanks and not you? We might like you, but show your fish. Thanks, TK. No one wants to see my ugly mug. I see how it is. Yeah, there is some times where I do show my fish tanks. And I do live streams here and there. But for anyone else a lot of people are pretty familiar with my process too. And a lot of my fish tanks, they're all basically roughly about the same. They're all cichlids right now, except for one fish tank. And I'm actually going to be not having this fish anymore in the near future. So that's why I'm rearranging all my fish room stuff, and I'm going to come up with new ideas, get new fish, get them from different parts of the country and stuff. And I want to have a more of a variety of fish down here too, and not just mbunas or peacocks or haps or whatever, because I'm trying to get out of the African cichlid hobby and just having probably just my one mbuna tank here, and then the one peacock tank over there with my 220. And then after that, start maneuvering things and getting things underway to change my fish tanks to have more of a variety. That's kind of the whole plan in the future. Yeah, we are here for the fish. Maybe I should just dress up in a fish costume for you guys. June, thanks for saying hello to my family. And I appreciate the kind words, June. Um, no one's perfect though. There can always be options in the future, and I think, June, if I ever were to own an Oscar, I would have to get one when it was young, and I would probably. I think one thing that I think would be fun to do is to have um, a plywood tank, and that would probably be the direction I would go to get big fish. Is once everything is done on this side of the fish room and I clear off the 4 tanks that I'm currently raising fry and giving away as they get bigger to either people from marketplace or my local fish stores, so they're worth a little bit more because right now they're real small still. um, so once those 4 tanks are done and over with, that's when I can decide how much I can spend and how much is in my wallet, to create a big fish tank and maybe do a learning experience of a plywood aquarium, and then maybe owning some Oscars then. So there's always room for future planning, Gina, I promise you. And I will keep that um, definitely in mind for the future. TK, I will keep that in mind. I do appreciate the suggestions. I know that there's a lot of live streams, even KG Tropicals and Primetime Aquatics to do a lot of the live streams. So that's actually a good suggestion. So I appreciate it. Um, I have. It's been a little bit. I sometimes when I do the to piggyback on that, TK, whenever I do like a water change live stream, as I'm doing water changes, and a lot of times I'm more than likely to do that with like my phone, because my camera, being at a plug-in sort of camera right now, the digital camera, it's more challenging. I can get a longer cord, of course, but it's a lot easier on the phone. So that way I can go to each individual tank as I'm doing water changes. So that way I could do that maybe next time on my next live stream and say, hey, I just want to give you guys a show of my tanks and what their current conditions are, um, and that sort of thing. So I'll take that into consideration. I appreciate it. But it's a good thought. Um, You were in the drum line in the band. Yeah, my brother was in. My brother played saxophone, and then after that, he got real into drums after that, and then he graduated, and he's been a drummer ever since. And I graduated in 2005, and he graduated in 2002, and he's been playing drums since then. So I play. I also do play drums on the just as a like a side hobby. I don't. I'm not real consistent with them because I have my other hobbies that I love doing. But I do play them as like kind of like a fun hobby to do. Oh, 23 years. That's phenomenal. Um, well, congratulations to you and your wife, Stephen, for being high school sweethearts for 23 years. That's fantastic. Stephen P, what we want to know what's in your wallet for your fish tank. If you could have that dream fish tank and that dream, how much money on average do you think you'd spend comfortably? We're kind of discussing earlier about saying that not one of those get rich quick schemes and throw like, the sky's the limit. But I'm just saying, what could you comfortably spend between everything that you want to put in a fish tank to have that dream fish tank with the bucket list fish in there, and be able to maintain it with your lifestyle. You don't have to get into specifics. So I'm not asking for like your, whole lot of information, but just a general, sort of roundabout number of how much that you think that you could be okay with, and even if you don't want to say a number, because some people may not be comfortable with that either, but kind of like a size aquarium, whether it be custom aquarium or store-bought aquarium, what kind of background, different odds and ends, and kind of go from there. Yep. Yeah, Jan, I think that would be the case too. That I would build an aquarium or buy a big aquarium. I think I would be more comfortable with building an aquarium myself, just because having a big fish tank and finding the manpower to do it is a little bit challenging. It took a while to do. Granted, I had a lot of stuff that I wanted to do, but I would definitely raise the small fish into a big tank. So that way I wouldn't have to worry about buying bigger tanks in the future down the road and having to maneuver things around. I would be that as a permanent home, build the fish tank according to the size that it needs, and then let it grow out in that tank for its entire lifespan. Hey, Scotty. Scotty's got nothing in his wallet. We're a bunch of fish keepers, you know. We're poor. We spend too much money on water changes. Our water bills are outrageous. um, but yeah, yeah. I what is the since I don't know a whole lot about Oscars other than their size and their tank size that's required for them, which is obviously a massive tank size. What is the average lifespan of Oscars? From your guys' experience, I know that Jesse has Oscars, obviously June. Um, Kyle over at Outside Aquatics keeps punk stickers in his wallet. Yeah, I heard that too. I think we should get some of those. Oh, so that's why. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense then. She is in complete control. I like it. Discus fish. Yeah, I that's another fish that like if I never went saltwater TK, I think that man, Jose TK, if you know who Joy of Fish Keeping is, Jose has some absolutely stunning discus fish. I would check him out if you haven't already. He kind of makes me jealous of wanting to keep discus, but I have I was thinking of getting discus more before I had my peacock and half tank. A lot of things happened with that one. Lost a lot of good fish. I lost a lot of money trying to keep it maintained. Long story short, there's a whole thing on that of an explanation of why I'm changing that around. But that's kind of the reason why I'm kind of trying to keep things simplistic for now, because I know discus you have to keep up with your water changes. You have to probably have a heater in your tank because you have to keep your heat on your fish tank more in like the 80s range, kind of like the 82 to 84, if I'm understanding that correctly. You can correct me if I'm wrong too. But I do know that they require a lot of attention, especially when they start pairing up, and a lot of maintenance as far as keeping things clear. Because that's definitely something that I could probably consider a bucket list fish, but I think there are others on my mind ahead of time before I start thinking of discus. But that's definitely something that's on the expensive list. And I touched base on this on my last video about how like some of these bigger peacock and half tanks, you can buy a full male at the local fish store, spending anywhere from 50 to $100. And some of these discus fish, if you don't buy them young, they're pricey too. And I think it just I just had enough fish die in my time that are expensive that I don't want to go that route for now. Um, but it will definitely something I'm consider in the future. But that the discus are absolutely stunning. I've seen some phenomenal discus tanks in my days, and it's really, really eye catching and tempting to do. Jesse says if I would buy a tank, I would really want it to be a 5,000 gallon right in the center of my garage with a Pacu. Those things are huge. The only place I've ever seen those fish at are at the zoo, and they have. I wonder what their lifespan is too. Yeah, it's definitely a consideration for sure. Um, I appreciate you watching on the journey. It well probably won't be within, like I said, it probably won't be within the next year. If I were to dive into Oscars, I would probably have to get the knowledge of building my own aquarium because I don't want to bring in another heavy fish tank anymore. This is my last heavy fish tank I want to do because it's a lot of work and a lot of manpower, and I don't want to move big fish tanks anymore unless it's 75 gallons or below. Because those are things that I can manage on my own. Um, but it's definitely going to be something I consider because I know that people who have had Oscars, they're just like puppy dogs, and I don't know, they're just more personal. They're like basically like close you can get to having a dog in a fish tank. So, but yeah, moving right along here. I will let you know if that ever happens sooner rather than later, but I don't see that happening in June, at least in the near future. Steven says, I have trouble spending a bunch of money at once. I'd end up starting cheap and then buying a bunch of stuff to upgrade it later. I love a custom aquarium around the 250 gallon mark, though. Yeah, and I agree. I think that's why when I found this 220, it makes it nice to be able to have the leisure of saying, hey, I got this, but I can also make upgrades as I go down the road, as far as different types of fish, if you want to do a different filtration. Um, because that's kind of how I started this hobby. I started out real small, and then as I got bigger tanks, and then I got different decorations, and I found out about canister filters. I haven't dived into sumps yet, which I don't think I will, because I'm just too much in love with the canister filters and being able to customize them. I know with sumps you can customize them as well, but I don't know, canister filters, my two FX6s, I'm going to modify them completely from the stock media that you get with them and do something completely different that's going to hopefully maintain my fish tank a lot better from my experience from my last peacock and half tank. And I'm hoping that my fish will survive a very long and healthy life with my new media I'm putting in it. But yeah, I like that. I like that mindset, Steve, and I appreciate your input on that. That's awesome. I would be okay with 20,000 system, but the wife says, hell no. Oh, 15 years is when you had, was that your longest living Oscar June? 4 for 15 years. That's a long time. That's kind of like Frontosa. Did they say that those things in captivity and like in your own home, they can live up to, I want to think maybe 20 years if they're maybe more, 20 plus years if they're in a good condition aquarium. But yeah, that would be a crazy system, Scotty. That would be a hell no for my wife too. Of course, here would be my response from my wife. Or holy cow, my response from my wife. I almost sounded country there. Is if I spent that amount of money, she would turn around and say, "Well, then what do I get to spend 20,000 on?" Then next thing you know, my fish tank and Dream tank would cost 40 grand and not 20 grand because she's going to get something that's 20 grand. So she's like, whatever you buy, she always asks the question of, how much are you spending? You're going to your local fish store. Well, let me know how much you're spending. So then now I can know how much I could spend whenever I go shopping. So it's just like, now wait a minute here. So he gets his discus from Myrtle Beach Discus. They are an amazing company. I haven't heard of Myrtle Beach Discus, but I'm sure that they are a well reputable source because he has very good experience for the most part with his discus, and they're absolutely stunning. I got a list last week with all kinds of wild caught rainbow fish, but they were only selling the males. I have yet to get. I'm going to have rainbow fish in the probably the somewhat near future because that's one of the things I'm going to do whenever I start moving tanks around. Is I want to have some good sized rainbow fish, like in a good mixture too of like a group of rainbow fish along with a group of something else. Because I've always liked the color of the rainbows. And just like this might sound kind of odd to say, but I like the shape of them. Just because of the color and the shape. I just think it's really interesting to see them swim. And I don't know, they're just an odd shape that as opposed to a normal fish shape, just kind of like discus. I think that's kind of what kind of attracts me to them is their shape of the fish. They're just such a different look to them. So let's see here. I spent at least 20,000 on a free turtle. Her third pond estimate knows over 20,000. What I have for another 25 years. So that would be like an investment then. So if you know you're going to be around your location for quite some time, because that's my plan is to stay at this house for hopefully the rest of my life. I don't plan on moving anytime soon. I don't want to because I like the area. But if you do like an investment thing and spend 20 grand and you know you're going to be there for a while, I know that having ponds, like a big pond is expensive. So I do know that those things are expensive to put together, but can be totally worth it if maintained well. So that's definitely an investment, and if you can enjoy something with that much of an investment for 25 plus years or until you retire, until as long as you live on this earth, then that would be a huge hobby that would be totally worth it. So yeah, that sounds about right for an estimate. There were three. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce that, so I'm probably going to butcher it. Even with collection data. So are the female rainbow fish, are they more colorful than the males? If I'm understanding that correctly, Chris. Okay, so puffers. So Jim, but puffers they have to live by themselves, right? I might be wrong on that, but I thought that puffers sometimes you have to be careful with them with tank mates and stuff. You can't just put them with anything. Yeah, so see, Scotty, see what I'm saying? This is why I don't tend to bring things up with buying fish stuff anymore, because my wife always asks me, how much are you spending? Bipolar gets along with the Lutania Oscar, but Severums is a no. Severums take a while to grow. They're very slow growers. I got some from Happy Place Aquatics, Jim, and I've had them for probably since the winter time, and they've probably only grown, just a little bit. They're in a 40-gallon breeder right now. They've doubled in size, but when I got them from Jim, they were probably only about, I don't know, maybe this big, and maybe only got maybe about this much. And they're still in that 40-gallon breeder. I mean, they have a slight color to them, but it just seems like Severums are just really slow growers. Yeah, everyone, if you don't mind to like the live, thanks Tim for reminding everyone. Recreation pond in my yard one day. Yeah, I don't think if I didn't have we have a pool at our house, so if I didn't have the pool, then I would probably get something like a pond related sort of thing. But I don't see the pool going away anytime soon. So, Chris says it's the males rainbow fish that are prettier. Okay, so it's the wild caught rainbows are expensive. So if you can't breed them, you might as well buy captive born. The exporters are keeping all of the females to breed themselves. I gotcha. That makes more sense. Thank you for explaining that to me. And I thought that was the case, but reassurance is always nice to hear. So that's interesting. Wild caught rainbows are expensive. Yeah, I wonder, is it just because of just them being wild caught then? Interesting. But I did get a new fish today. So technically speaking, I did get a new fish. It's about 12 inches in length. And it's a pretty good size, and I'm looking at it right now, just hanging out in the tank. So I was going to get it yesterday, and because my daughter was looking at it, and then she had her eye on it for a while, and then we left, and then she kept saying fish. She was missing her fish, so I said, you know what? I'll go back tomorrow and I'll pick it up. So I went ahead and did that. Took a special trip out to go pick that fish up, and I got it a pretty good deal. And I expect this fish to live a long and healthy life. It's going to be around for a while, so long as I take care of it, it should be good. So I'll let you guys see this fish here in a second. Puffers. Oh, so puffers you keep together. Then I have. I'm going to butcher this too because of the name, but Fahaka puffers, if I'm saying that correctly, quickly become my favorite fish. What is a fish? Jesse, that's a very interesting question. Jose, welcome in. I was just telling everyone I got a new fish. It's about a foot. Jesse, you're punny. Here comes the dad jokes. I was just coming in telling everyone I got a new fish. So if you guys want to give me a second, I'll show you my new fish. And it should live a nice, long, and healthy life, as far as I know. So I got this. I took a special trip back to the local fish store and got him myself, for my daughter. So I'll show you guys the fish I got for her. There he is. He's going to live a wonderful life swimming around in that tank. Can't complain too much. He's pretty easy to take care of. Yeah, and my daughter was in love with it. But yeah. Anyways, Chris says they come from Papua and are collected from remote places. The harder it is to get, the more expensive they are. Okay, that makes sense. The more rare they are, of course, the more expensive. The Papua New Guinea is not an easy or always safe place to travel or collect fish. So yeah, so obviously the more involved it does to take care of a fish, and the more rare it is, the harder it is to get, the more expensive. Then that makes complete and total sense. Jesse says, "What do you call a sacred fish?" It is chicken of the sea, very sacred. Yeah, look at that nuchal hump. Yeah, it stands out like a sore thumb. No, but she was carrying around that fish for like half the time that we were there, and then she got distracted by the cats at the. It wasn't a fish store. I guess I have to correct myself. It was a pet store, but they do have quite a few fish tanks there. But she was carrying it around the store, and then she got distracted by the cats all of a sudden. And then we left, and then she was like, "Hey, I just wanted the fish back," so I went back and got it today. June, you are a legend. Get a Fajaka puffer. At least check them out. I'll get a few of them maybe. So you got me a new bucket list fish then. My personal bucket list fish would probably be a peacock bass if I ever were to get one. But then I have to get some Oscars in honor of June, and then get some Fajaka puffers. But that's saltwater too, isn't it? Oh, scared. Oh, did I say sacred? Was that a typo on your end, Jesse? Chicken of the sea. What do you? Oh, a scared fish, a sacred fish. Man, sorry about that, Jesse. I read that wrong. Thanks for correcting me. But June, thank you so much for the super chat. You are definitely appreciated. That I'll put that towards the Fajaka puffers and check them out. So thank you again. I I appreciate it more than you know. And thank you for also being like a channel member. Jesse and June are channel members. I would have to look on my YouTube studio um, and see who are still on my members list. I'm on here now. We have currently June and Jesse. Jesse's been on for 12 months and June's been on for 6 months. So you two, I appreciate the membership. It means more than you know. Make sure you guys like that super chat too, because it's greatly appreciated. June comes in hot. But yeah, it's definitely greatly appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, it's amazing. It's very beautiful, and the colors on it, man, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, that's kind of a little rendition of the what's going on now, what's in the future, how much that I'm willing to spend roughly, and what's in my wallet from Capital One. And I got a lot of good input from you guys on how much you guys are willing to spend, what you guys have done in the past, what you guys do in the present and in the future. So we've had some good conversations. Yeah, you're behind 6 months. No, 6 months is perfectly fine, June. Um, it's been wonderful having you along for the ride for the membership. So, and Jesse, of course. So, there you go. But by no means don't feel obligated, but it is greatly appreciated. I've been using a lot of the whatever I do make off of YouTube, I've actually been using it for the upgrades for my fish tanks, and I've been using it for my giveaways. Jose got my last giveaway. I got a mag float. That was my last giveaway. I'm not sure what my next giveaway is going to do, but what I like to normally do is whenever I get the next money amount from YouTube, I'll take a portion of that and put it towards my next giveaway to give out to you guys. So I'm going to try to continue to do that, to try to keep up with the hype and everything. I'm still planning on doing all that in the future. But I always try to at least bring up that I try to give things back to you guys as my channel goes along, to make sure that you guys enjoy my channel, enjoy my content, have fun with it, and that sort of thing. There you go. We have a new member here, Slim Tim. Thanks for becoming a new YouTube member. Appreciate it, my friend. Now we got three. We are 3 for 3 tonight. So yeah, there's some definitely some bucket list fish, some definite numbers and things we different things we've crunched on and talked about. Like I said, like number crunching and some great ideas, some good information. I do want to give a shout out to Chris Junkin because he had a lot of information on the rainbow fish and the information on the Papua New Guinea. That's not easier, always safe place for like to travel. So there's a lot of good information that we found out this evening, which is great. And that's the whole point of being on these live streams with you guys, to find out a lot of information from all you guys. Don't forget the towel. Well, the merch had to be that's going to be something I'm going to have to put on the back burner for now. And the reason being is because, like I said before, life just got busy. We have another one on the way, so we kind of have to balance, everything. And we were planning on creating some T-shirts. And my wife did start a business, and that didn't work out for her. So her business is closed now. So we were planning on doing that. The only thing I could maybe think about in the future is maybe doing like a Teespring store and making a few shirts available on there, and then kind of go from there. But it all depends on what my logo is going to be and my new name and that sort of thing as time goes on. But I know as things come out in the future, there's some things that people aren't going to be interested in, which I'm totally, I've accepted the fact that if people aren't going to watch, or maybe if I lose some, that's fine. Or even if I keep some or gain some, it's just going to be a hobby channel. So if people don't watch it, then that's totally fine too. I get it. But I just hope that the people that I've gained since I started this channel, I do hope and that I see you guys in the future. Is like if I do other stuff that's non-fish related, that I do see you guys in the future whenever I do live streams and other videos, that you guys will keep coming back to the fish stuff, that you are that you'll still hang on with me for a little bit. So Chris says it was a lot of fun. Thanks for entertaining us. Yeah, you're welcome. No problem. Tim says, might sound corny, but I enjoy your content, the transparency on the channel. Yeah, I do too. Corny and true, and I do like the attitude, just like June said. So I do appreciate every little bit here. So yeah, I'm going to kind of leave you guys with that. I'm kind of hitting on the hour here. I want to do a few things, and I want to finish. If you guys haven't watched, my wife and I need to finish watching Happy Gilmore 2. We have about like 20-25 minutes left in it. So I kind of want to jump on here for about an hour or so, hang out with you guys for a little bit. I enjoyed all the good time, the good conversation. No, Jesse, did you see my new fish I got? I panned over briefly. You must have been away or something. But yeah, it's been good so far. I mean, nothing's as good as the original June, but it's definitely has some good cameos in it. But I haven't watched the ending yet, so no spoilers here. Jesse, I'll show you my fish that I got real quick before we go. He's going to live a long and happy life for sure. Unless we get a dog, and he may not live a long and happy life. Fair, to be fair. But yeah. That's my new fish. I was telling everyone earlier that I got a new fish, and my daughter saw it yesterday, and she really she was eyeing it for most of the time, and then she was starting to look at the cats, and then we left, and then she wanted it, and so I took a special trip out there myself and got that fish today just for her. Yeah, that's a nice nucle, huh? You really like that 3D background. That 3D background is bigger than the one I have from my previous tank, so it's crazy. But I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go. We're gonna go finish watching Happy Gilmore 2. I'm sure my daughter's gonna be going to bed soon, so I want to kind of help my wife with getting her in the bathtub and helping her get to sleep. We'll watch Happy Gilmore, and then we'll hang out for a little bit, and then call it a night. So everyone out there, be safe. Jesse, here we go again. He says, "Wait, don't go." You're welcome, June. Thank you again. You guys are greatly appreciated. June, thank you again for the super chat. And Tim, thank you again for being a member. Be happy, be healthy, stay safe out there, stay cool. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Happy Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Enjoy yourselves. Live your life to the fullest. And we'll see you again tomorrow on Jesse's live stream at 9 a.m. Be there or be square. Take care. You guys have a good one.